Hey Floss Tube, it's Sunday, December 11th, and it's been a minute or two since we've done this. And I got a metric crap ton of stuff to show you. Voice is not, well, hopefully the voice will hold out, but we'll see how it goes. But so how you been? How was your October and your November and your December so far? Mine was kind of busy. Let's see. Last we talked was mid-October. We had our Phoenix Fan Fest, which was busy weekend. Then we stayed in California for a weekend, and then November hit and the plague sort of descended upon the house. Mike got sick. I got sick. Kids got a version of sick. Mike got sick again. I got sick again. It's been kind of crazy. We've been passing this cold. I was sick the week of Thanksgiving. I was already off work, so I was home at least, which was good. But yeah, it's just been one of those couple of months where while I've been stitching quite a bit and I have a pile of here of stuff to show you, I was not videoable at that point. And in fact, I'm sure you noticed there's no music this time, and that's because we're all still getting over being sick. And so, yeah. So we get what we get. Hopefully, like I said, I got a lot to show. But let's get to it. So, in October, I found out that the framer that I really liked, who I thought had gone and closed his business last summer, did not actually close his business. And in fact, we're still framing. So I've been taking stuff to the framer quite a bit. So that's the first batch of stuff I have to show is I've got a bunch of framed pieces. Several of these either came from the Hanger of Shame, which I showed in one of my earlier videos of things that had been finished, but they'd never been finished. So this is the first one. This is a Mill Hill kit that I did. So now framed, glass, ready to hang. None of these have been hung yet. Again, kind of sick. This is another Mill Hill. I remember the name of this one. This is called Wanda's Witchery. Oh, you can see all kinds of fun things in that reflection. Anyway, this is a black mat. And then it's beaded. Oh, we put the Christmas tree up. You might have been able to see that in the reflection. We got that done today. We did that today. Alright, next. As you can see, these are getting larger as I move through the stack. This is my ink circles, one of my ink circles roll your own mandala pieces that I did a couple years ago. This is in the Monet colorway that Tracy put together for me that I requested. So with the purple frame, no matte, just the purple frame. I think it looks awesome. I love it. Okay, put that one on the floor. What's next? Okay. This is the Samsara design, the mystery sampler from, again, a couple years ago. Stitched everything as called for. And just a simple black and bronze frame. I think it came out really cool. So that's ready to go on the wall. Okay, now this one, in fact, in my last video, you saw the finish. And this is Things Unseen, Lizzie Kate Things Unseen, that was my first year of whips finish that I did back in October. Again, no matte, just the frame. And I really like the frame and how it's just sort of gentle from a color perspective. It doesn't overwhelm the piece. It is straight, even though the camera looks kind of funny. So yeah, So things unseen, all framed, ready to go on the wall, which is awesome. And then the last one is my most recent. Another year of whips finished. I don't even know if I showed the whip. But anyway, this is Bluebell, Mirabilia Bluebell. So she is now, I finished her last month. And took her for framing. And it's a purple matte, and then underneath is a pale green. So it really kind of plays off the wings, the colors of the wings. And then just a nice textured frame. So look and see, you can see all the piles of crap that I've got to show you. Anyway, so Bluebell. So Bluebell is done. So she will go on my wall, Oh Fairies, that is right over there. So all those finished pieces. Now, lest you think that I've spent like hundreds upon hundreds of dollars for all of that framing. No. All of that framing, less than $300 for all 5 of those pieces were significantly less. So I'm sure you can appreciate how sad I will be when my framer goes. He does a great job. He does a lot of needlework. So yeah. In fact, I have another year of whips piece that I finished yesterday. Friday. Finished it on Friday. I took her yesterday. She's going to get just a very simple frame, very small, because I'm glad she's done. I didn't really enjoy stitching her all that much, but I'm glad she's done. So she gets framed. And I know I'll finish Pumpkin Passport this week, which I don't actually even have here as a pile because it's ready to be packed to go to California tomorrow. But I'll finish that this week, and so I'll take it in next week for him to frame it. And I don't know what else I'm going to get done. I got to try to get a couple other things done because it looks like he'll be closing sometime in January for sure. So I do have other finishes since I saw you. So this is Mill Hill. This is Shining Star by Mill Hill, and it's finished with felt and magnet and everything. So I did it. I started and finished it. And then this is the Mill Hill Tombstone. So again, started, finished. This is a piece that I did for the election challenge. For the one where I had to use a plaque. I did the tombstone. I did stitch election challenge, and I did stitch every day. I don't remember what I did. The whips are here. I'll tell you. I'm not going to go through it day by day, though. I'll just tell you if I worked on it during that day. Because I don't necessarily remember. So the other piece, now this one I also did during the election challenge. This is a Painted Lady by Jeanette Douglas. It is a kit that is sold by Needle in a Haystack. I know I did this on the purple day. So it was on a Sunday, and I started and finished it all on the same day. And I like it because I just like it. It's purple, and then the tree is all specialty. It's all specialty stitches. There you go. So it was very quick. So that one's finished. I have no idea what I'm going to do with it yet. I don't know. It'll go on the hanger of shame. But this is how it comes. Here. So we'll talk about that more in just a second. So those were all the finishes that I've had in the last couple of months. So the 2-year whips pieces that are now framed, and then the 3 small finishes. Pretty sure that's it. Pretty sure that's it. Okay, so in the meantime, I worked on a bunch of other stuff. The first one is because after I finished Bluebell, I was kind of in the mood for some new starts, so I started a few things. So the first thing I started, was the Frosted Pumpkin Merry and Bright, and here's what it will look like. Here's what it'll look like when it's done. I really like this one, because obviously, hello, penguins, right? But the other piece is nice too. So here's where we're at. I'm doing this. I got the kit from Frosted Pumpkin, so it's on the crystal quartz. I really like this color, I have to say. I really like this color, but so that's where we're at. I did kind of redo the gingerbread, the little gingerbread guy, because he looked really wonky to me, so I recharted him to something that didn't look quite so wonky. I will say it's disconcerting to have the X's for eyes, because he looks like a dead gingerbread man, but that's just me. Okay, so another new start that I had, and again, these are in no particular order, because you saw the piles, right? Okay, so another new start. This was Jessie Marie's fault, because my husband was watching over my shoulder when I was watching FlossTube on the plane one week, and he saw this, and he was like, oh, gotta have that. So this is Mirabilia's Winter White Santa. That's what it looks like. I started this for the Nights in White Satin. I think it was Nights in White Satin. Stitch Along and Stitch Mania. And here's where I got in a couple days. This is Picture This plus Arctic in Belfast. There are 4 colors of Kranic in this pattern, and they're all represented in this square. You cannot see the sparkle. I'm kind of trying to do like a pseudo parking thing. You know, in Mirabilia patterns, they're so huge, and so you're having to constantly fold and refold and fold and refold, and some Mirabilias take a while, so they get worn on those fold lines. I'm sure you understand. I'm sure y'all have had this same issue, right? I don't like making working copies of my patterns, especially Mirabilias, because they're so big. So I'm just kind of doing one section at a time, and so this is the top line. This is the top of that section, and this is essentially the bottom of that section. So it's kind of this fold. It's like a mid-fold section in the middle, but so we'll see how that works out. I won't do beads in the section, but I'll do everything else, and hopefully that'll save on some of the folding and refolding and losing symbols and wearing off in the 20 years it takes me to finish it. Next, let's see what's next. Oh, okay. So next is a Your Whips piece. Melanie, hi Melanie, had a challenge last weekend. I think it was last weekend, where your partner would choose 2 of your Whips pieces, and the challenge was to do 700 stitches on each one of the pieces. So Melanie chose for me Cirque to Cirque, ink circle, Cirque to Cirque. And I worked on this on Saturday to get 700 stitches, which I did. So this is on Picture This plus Ariel Belfast. Here's where we're at. And these two circles here are what I did, and that's roughly 700 stitches. So coming along. I'm stitching this in Sulky blendable thread. Like that. It's like number 12 pearl cotton, and so you only use 1 strand, so it makes it real easy. So variegated. You'll see how much I really like that thread here in a few minutes. Okay, so that was the first one, and then the other piece that she chose was Little House Needleworks, Brave Hearts. And I worked on that and did approximately 700 stitches. 700 stitches. I did the greenery, the here. I did Liberty, the piece. I did the birds up here. I did all of the window, the white in the windows. So this is on 40 count something. Bisque, I think. Lakeside Linens Bisque. Using the Belsois Crescent. Now it's called something else. Classic Colorworks Silk. Is that what it's called now? Still Belsois. Anyway, so those were my 2 Year of Whips progress pieces for the challenge. Let's see, what else we have here? Oh, here's another Year of Whips piece that I've been working on. This one kind of got a lot of time in October. This one I used for the election challenge. I remember. This is Sampler Grows by the Scarlet House. I took the class in 2012. My God. And I got quite a bit. This is also on 40 count something with needlepoint silk, NPI silk. Now, I've always, for years, I've said I didn't like NPI silk. I didn't mind it nearly as much as I thought. That's part of the reason why this kit has been languishing, is because I knew it's all in NPI silk, and I'm like, I don't like NPI silk. Bad. It's not so bad. Don't know if I would do like a chatelaine with all the NPI silk, or a Hawk Run Hollow piece, but it's not so bad over 1/2 on 40 count. But anyway, so here's the progress. I know I added the dog as part of the election challenge. I know I finished the house as part of the election challenge. I think I did some of the ground. I don't remember. Anyway, it got 3 or 4 days, and I really enjoyed working on it. So it got bumped up the priority list. Now, here was the failure. Here I had an election challenge failure. So this is Plum Street Samplers, My Heart's Welcome. Now, I belong to the Colonial Gathering Club, which is done from Dyeing to Stitch, which is a needlework store somewhere on the East Coast. I don't know where. They mail me stuff. Anyway, so it's Plum Street Samplers and Scarlet House alternating, and it's six kits a year, I think. Like I said, it just shows up in my door, and it's a great thing. So I decided that for one of the election things, I wanted to do the house. I think it was either the blue or the red day. I don't remember. So I pulled this out because I have a lot of these and I haven't done any of them. So it's a full kit, right? Comes with everything. And it comes with this linen. So you can see I had start, right? I started it. That's blue. Doesn't look like blue. But, oh my God, it's like cardboard. Ugh, I don't like it. I'm not. So I'm going to restart it on some nice fabric. I think this is Chocolate Milk Jobelin from Hand-Dyed Stephanie, because, yeah, that, I mean, seriously, people. I mean, you could get a paper cut from this. Paper cut. It's bad. It's bad. Bad. Oh, sorry. My pile's falling over. It was bad. So yeah, that didn't last very long, and so I'm not going to continue on that. Okay, we'll just pull from the pile. Okay, so the other thing I started was bless this graduate, Lizzie Kate, because the editor, he graduated from high school. So I started it on this antique copper Jobelin. This was like one night. I converted it over to Dinky Dye silks that I had in my stash, and I started it, and I don't know. I don't know. I can't decide if I like it or not on this fabric. I can't decide. I look at it, I think it's too dark, I don't know what to do. So it got put away until I either decide to restart it or I decide it's not so bad and I go ahead and finish it. I don't know. It's a small chart. I'm not restarting. It's not a big deal. It just didn't fit. Didn't look right. Didn't look like him. Okay. Next. Next I worked on, this is Dream Big by Emma Condren. I'm not going to pull out the picture because I don't have it printed. So here it is. This is a baby sampler, or this will be a baby gift for my daughter's best friend who just had a baby in October. So I finished big. So not much left. Only got a little bit on the bottom. So on blue, Navy Lugana. Goes really fast. So again, that'll get up in the priority list to get done now. Okay, what else? What's this? Oh! Have you seen the Ship's Manor, Beautiful Quaker stitch along? I have. Here's the threads. Here's parts 1 through 4. Parts 1 through 4 of the Ship's Manor, Beautiful Quaker. Part 5 is out over here. It starts over here. But it's got like this is a partial, and then there's a partial down here. So I'm probably going to wait until 6 comes out and then do 5 and 6 together. But yeah, so that's the Ship's Manor using the Ship's Manor threads. But I really like it. So that got going. I was caught up until the last part came out. So I'll be caught up again when the next part comes out, which I think is next weekend. So I worked on that. Oh, and then I worked on another Year of Whips piece. So another challenge that Melanie did in November was to pick the Year of Whips piece that you dread working on. That was pretty easy to do. And to put 700 stitches in it. So I pulled out my Biscornu number 670, which is a penguin Biscornu from the Floss box. Why do I dread this piece? White. I don't like stitching white. So I put in another 700 stitches. So I got another penguin done, and I got some of the little bits and bobs inside. So not bad. I'm very happy with that. And it means I'm not quite halfway, because obviously I have the back. I've stitched the back, but the back is real simple. So instead of it being at risk of falling in the bottom of the Year of Whips pile and not actually getting done, it'll get done. When I'm ready for something that I can finish in a week or so. Okay, next. So then I was gifted with a kit, a fully kitted Glendon Place chart called Woodland Wonder. Is that not the most gorgeous thing ever? Gorgeous. So a very good friend of mine sent me the full kit. I was shocked. I did not expect it. It was a complete surprise. She is a wonderful person, and I love her to death. And I had never even noticed this chart before, and I love it. I absolutely love it. So she sent it to me, and of course, I'm going to start it because she sent it to me. So here it is. This is on Picture This Plus Earthen. And there's the start. This was just like a couple 3 days. I love the trees. I love the tree. This needle minder I made. So here it is. You cannot see the sparkle. This is all braid. This is the antler, all braid. The snowflakes are stitched just in white floss, and then you're supposed to blend it with a strand of blending filament. Well, I got no patience for that. So what I do for blending filament is once I've stitched everything in the main color floss, then I go back in and I overlay the blending filament on top of the top leg. It makes for a much more consistent, because now you know you're going to get blending filament on every stitch instead of trying to futz with making sure it all lays nice and making sure the filament comes to the top and it doesn't get buried. No, so I just overlay the blending filament on top. And unfortunately, you can't see it on the camera, but it's really sparkly. So I've done all of these ones up here. I've done the overlay, and then I've stitched all the rest of the snowflakes. I just haven't done the overlay yet. And then this is all braid. This is just floss for now, but it's all these holes are gonna have like beads. Like there's beads and stuff in here. It's absolutely gorgeous. So I fully expect that this is gonna have more time this month because I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Kathy. I love it. Okay. One more. So the other piece I worked on in October, pretty sure I know I worked on it in October, is tapestry. So ink circles, tapestry. Here it is. Where we're at now. This is all done in the Gentle Arts and on 30 count platinum Murano. So this will be a 2017 focus whip because it has to be done by June. It was a stitch along with friends starting in June, and we're going to start another one this coming June, and so I got to finish this one first. So those are all the whips that I worked on in the last couple months, with the exception of Pumpkin Passport. Like I said, I'm not going to show that. I didn't bring it out. It's not in the pile. All I have to do is the December is the Canada, which I'll do this week in California. I didn't actually travel to California this past week because being sick and getting on a plane when my head is congested. I'm not into that kind of pain. So I stayed home, and I briefly thought, hey, I can finish Pumpkin Passport. But all I had was the whip, because I was planning to show it in a video Thanksgiving weekend, which obviously didn't happen. And so I didn't have the floss. Well, it's all DMC, right? So I'm like, I can just pull the DMC. And then I thought, why bother? I'm going to be back in California, and I'll just do it next week. As long as I get it done before the 30th, there's no risk of it not getting framed by Nick. So I'll finish it this coming week. So those are all the whips and finishes that I've had. I got to the point where I couldn't keep track of what I had worked on. As you can see, I worked on a lot of pieces. I worked on like 12 pieces in the month of November. So I've created a spreadsheet to keep track of what I worked on when. And I realized I'm working on way too many pieces in a month. So I've got to come up with a better plan for next year, which I have sort of come up with a plan for next year. I'm not doing a stitch from stash, because as soon as I say that, there will be a million things put out there that I have to have. So I'm not doing stitch from stash. I'm just trying to be more mindful in my stash acquisition, stash enhancement, I guess. Be more mindful. We'll see how that works. I do have a few things to show. Nor am I saying, I'm going to start these 5 pieces next year. I don't do that. Because as soon as I come up with that list, I'll forget the list. It's a wonder that I've done so well with Year of Whips, but I keep going back to my Facebook album just to remind myself what's on my Year of Whips. Oh, yes, I need to finish this one. Oh, yes, I'm going to pick this one up next. Because if I didn't have the visual reminder, it would just be written on a list somewhere and I'd forget about it. So So I've got my year of whips list for 2016. That is part of the challenge. And then next year I will, and all of the things on my year of whips were started prior to 2015. Next year, my year of whips for 2017 will include pieces that were started this year. So I'm going to kind of alternate between the lists to try to get some things, to continue finishing things. That's the plan. But we're going to go into that in more detail at the end of the month. I'll tell you what monthly sal I've chosen to do and what my monthly starts are going to be, because I have figured that out. So, but we'll figure it. Well, I'll do another video at the end of the month. At the end of the month when I'm on vacation, and we'll go through that. So, please hold.